Yo, yo, yo.
My name is Jared. His name is Ryan, and we are the Boat Parade. Thank you guys for liking, commenting, and subscribing as always. Today, I'm sure you guys are wanting to hear us talk about the controversial roughing the passer call with Tom Brady, and we're going to get to that, so stick around for the end, and we'll give our thoughts all about it. It's going to be great. What are you wanting to do, pound it?
I don't know what was up with that. Was it fist bump? Stick around to the end, fist bump.
All right, so this is going to be the recap of the Bucs Falcons game, Week 5, it is?
Week 5.
Week 5. We've done the preview for it. We gave our thoughts. Real quick, just a recap of that. First of all, you said Leonard Fournette was going to break 100 yards rushing.
He almost broke 100 receiving.
But he did not have. The Bucs had 70 rushing yards today.
Total.
69, actually.
Total, Leonard Fournette had more than 100 yards.
But it's better than last week where they had 3 rushing yards.
They were -3 at the first half.
In order to get a win, you have to establish the run. The Bucs did that today, at least a little bit. So hats off to the offense for putting it together. Tom Brady threw for 350.
Yeah, 351.
351 and a tud. So
and a tutty.
So that's good.
Atlanta only had 151 passing yards.
Rushing
yards. We had 69 rushing yards.
They had 110 passing yards.
That's what it was. So 151 rushing yards to our 69 rushing yards, and we had 351 passing yards to their 110 passing yards, and obviously total yardage, we smacked them. And it was an interesting game to watch. Actually, I did want to insert a clip here. This was something really cool. So we were on our way home from the airport, and as you can see here, we got to actually see the flyover in its baby stage right before they flew over the stadium. So we actually saw them circle.
Yeah, they were lining
down
up.
Dale Mabry. And
this is at the intersection of Kennedy and Dale Mabry.
Yeah, and then what a sight to see. I mean, you could hear the play. Now, this was the Coast Guard, which I believe they did this to honor all the sacrifices they've made to help flood victims recently with what's going on with Hurricane Ian. And so that was just super cool. Moving on to the game, the first half, the Bucs looked like you want to see them look, right? The score at the half was 21-0.
13.
What do you mean?
13-0 at halftime.
At 21 in the third quarter?
Yeah.
Dang.
They scored the passing touchdown to Leonard Fournette was in the third quarter. They went for 2. Russell Gage
field goal
caught the
was
2-point
right
conversion.
before the field goal.
Yeah, because they went
10-0.
touchdown, field goal.
That's right. Okay, all right. So 13-0 at the half, and then we went 21 third quarter. 21-0 is a great score. It's where you want to be. Tom Brady was looking good. The boys were looking good. Mike Evans had some long catches, and then things started to get.
It was 21-0 going into the fourth quarter.
Going into the fourth quarter. Now, Brady obviously had a great game. I mean, he had a better game on paper last week, and they lost. But the team as a whole, the defense was playing great. And then we go into the fourth quarter.
To give up in a game 15 points and 240 yards of offense.
Yeah, it's a great game.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great game. And, I mean, to be 21-0, to give up no points going into the fourth quarter is great. I don't know why we always have to, like, keep the games close. You know, I don't know if this is all like – it's like, guys, you have them to 0 going in the fourth quarter. You got this. Anyway, they scored, I think it was 9 or 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They scored one time, and then they scored again with 4 minutes left, 4.5 minutes left.
It was around 4:30 whenever the Bucs got the ball back for that.
And they went for the 2-point conversion. And they got the 2-point conversion.
Right, so now it's 21-15. Now it's a 6-point game.
With like 3-something minutes left. And I'm starting to think to myself, you know, especially when you go back and watch, it definitely was a situation that was ideal if there was going to be a comeback for Atlanta. And then there was this very controversial
The first call that people were complaining about was that defensive holding call that they called.
Yeah.
It was defensive holding.
Yeah, fact.
And, like, yes, we're Bucs fans, but non-biased. It was defensive holding.
It was holding. And then what you saw, which we went and reviewed some of these plays just to make sure that we're not biased because we're not just trying to do this from a fan. But there was no doubt, unquestionably, pass interference. The play before.
With Scotty Miller going on the deep ball where he caught it out of bounds. Now, the rules of pass interference is this. If I'm playing defense and you're playing offense and the ball's coming over my shoulder, I have to look at the ball. I can't just look at you and then shadow box.
Yeah.
I have to look and make an attempt to play defense. The defender did not, forcing Scotty Miller to then dive and catch the ball out of bounds.
And there was a lot of contact.
And he hit him, and that's why he was falling back in the first place. So it's not just the looking, it's the hey, I'm not looking for the ball and I'm making like physical contact heavy with you.
Right.
That was pass interference. And here's what I believe. I believe that the roughing the passing call on Tom Brady was total bogus, and it was a terrible call.
I agree.
I think that the NFL should look at doing something about reviewing it, because there was another thing terrible that happened just a few minutes ago with Matthew Stafford in the Rams game. I think the NFL should look into doing something about that. But I think specifically for the Tom Brady terrible roughing the passer call, which was one of the worst that I ever seen. Yes, he did sack him. I think that what they saw and they were saying, hey, that was a little bit excessive.
Yeah,
and was that he did a little into the ground
maybe
afterwards.
It was a little unsportsmanlike conducty, but it definitely was not roughing the passer.
But here's the reason why they called it. It was to make up for the pass interference.
It was a makeup call, which if you grew up playing football or you played football, you understand that happens a lot when the refs miss a big call. If they have the opportunity to restore that missed call or missed yardage or whatever, they'll do that on the consecutive play or the 2 plays after. And it's kind of like an unwritten football thing. A lot of people who didn't play football, maybe if you're just a fan casually watching, you think what's going on. But there was a blatant missed pass interference call the play before.
It was bad.
It was a long, I mean, we're talking 30, 40 yards, first and 10, 20 yards from scoring, the position we would have been in. And so I think they know that. Am I saying that it should have gone that way?
No. If I'm a Falcons fan, if I'm an average Falcons fan that doesn't really understand football at a high level, I'm so mad.
Yeah.
If I'm just a anti-Tom Brady guy, if I'm just a Brady hater, I'm pissed. But if you understand football, if you've played a high level of college or pro football and you understand the little idiosyncrasies and nuances of football, then you can recognize, hey, that was a blatant pass interference call that they missed, and they had to make up for it on the next play.
Yeah, and decision.
Something in hockey that I like is that they have mics, and sometimes they'll catch them and they'll be saying things, hey, he just did that. I missed it. We got to make up for it in a little bit. Whenever there's something a little bit, we got to get it back. And that's something that the players understand. And I think that if you ask the players, they would obviously say what they have to make themselves look good on camera. But off camera, I think they would say, yeah, that was a makeup call.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that decision is up to the discretion of the refs. And that's why a few hours ago, some of the refs came out actually supporting the decision that they made, that it was roughing the passer, which is interesting. They're not going to expose the idiosyncrasies of how the game operates to the world, but which is what it was. But some of the refs came out and said, we stand by the decision that it was roughing the passer.
Well, yeah, that's everything. That's a politician saying, yeah, that guy's all right.
Yeah, I agree with it. Whatever. And we're not saying that we believe the call was bogus, but the call was there because they were trying to attach something that they missed to that. And we see that all across sports all the time. I see it specifically a lot in baseball. I feel like sometimes some of those calls are blatant strikes, and they'll call it a ball, making up for something maybe that they missed. So as a fan, you have to accept the game is the game. It's hard now with media because, technology is so good. They're kind of taking away that ability to control and monitor the game from the refs and giving it to the fans, which is really dangerous because now you have fans who are watching a replay who don't know a lot about the game, or saying, oh, the ref made a mistake, the ref doesn't know what he's doing. Okay, well, the refs have been studying the game longer than you've been alive, and the power to make those decisions is not in the hands of the fans, it's in the hand of the ref.
That is one of my favorite aspects of watching a football game, is just listening to people around you that are halfway drunk.
Yeah.
You're just with not a clue of what's actually going on. They know Madden level football.
Yeah.
And they're out there yelling at the coach, yelling at the refs, yelling at the players, and they actually don't know anything.
Yeah.
And that is the most entertaining part of the game. Yes,
it is fun to go.
Obviously, we're doing a Bucs review. I was at the Gator game yesterday because my parents gave me some tickets because they had to stay at their house. I went to see my little sister in Gainesville. And there was a guy a few rows back just yelling the most utter nonsense. It was so great. I loved listening to that guy just be an idiot the whole game. But I think big improvement this week.
Big improvement
on the defense. Obviously, giving up 41 points to the Chiefs. That kind of stunk. So to only give up 15 to the Falcons, yes, it's the Falcons.
It is the Falcons. However, Sunday football, you can never determine what's going to happen, right?
Any given Sunday.
The Jets just beat Miami, and when we were looking at that game, it was, a 2-point, 19-17. It was a 2-point game, like in the fourth, going into the fourth. and the Jets won 40-17. You don't know what's going to happen no matter what the history or the season of the football team is. You have no idea. Any win is a win. Any win, however the win comes, is a solid win. You can whine and complain about it no matter what you think. There's no guarantee, just for all you Atlanta fans out there, there's no guarantee that if that call wasn't made that you were winning the game. And based on how our defense was looking, I'd wager that Atlanta wasn't winning that game no matter what happened with the roughing the passer call. So at the end of the day, the Bucs look great. We're looking forward to an away game next week.
It was big to get the win to come back. You know, Tom Brady, I think I saw a statistic that he hasn't had back-to-back losses in like over 2 decades.
Yeah, I want to say it's been like 22 years. Also, just a little quick end of video shout out to Tom. This was his 300th consecutive starting game that he's played, which is almost double. The closest underneath him is 155 consecutive games. So this guy is tough. He's in there for the team.
Incredible.
And we're excited
we
to
look
see
forward
it.
to getting the momentum, going up first in the NFC South, now going up and playing the Pittsburgh Steelers at the rest in peace Heinz Field.
Yeah.
Going against Kenny Pickett. So great to get some momentum. We look forward to giving you guys a breakdown soon for that. And we'll catch you guys next time on the Boat Parade.
You know you can look me in the eye. It's all because of Jesus. He the reason I'm alive. I live by faith, by grace. You know that I ain't gotta strive. They told me, Tony.